Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily here with the MLS Insider Josh Weisenhunt. I'm Nick Fershaw. On this Wednesday, the biggest headline involves Robbie Rogers, the former Columbus Crew player who earlier this year revealed that he was gay. And at that point, I think a lot of people were wondering, maybe his career would end. He wouldn't want to come back to soccer. Just 26 years old, he has resurfaced in camp with the LA Galaxy, spotted on Tuesday. And the Galaxy press were interested in what Bruce Arena and Landon Donovan had to say about Robbie Rogers. Now, the Chicago Fire own his rights. They hold the cards here. The Galaxy want him. What's going to happen?
It's going to be really, really interesting to see what pans out here, Nick, over the next couple weeks. Because, as you said, a couple months back, I don't think people were really wondering what was going to happen with Robbie Rogers. I mean, Robbie Rogers said himself that he was done with professional soccer. So then all of a sudden yesterday he turns up at the Home Depot Center and everyone welcomes him with open arms. Landon Donovan, Bruce Arena, very complimentary, saying that they would love to have him around. And if I'm Chicago, I'm loving this situation right now because they're going to get something back for him, obviously. As you said, they own his rights. Yeah,
Frank Klopas, though, let's be clear, the head coach of the Chicago Fire, saying that they've always wanted him in Chicago. That's why they traded for his rights from the Crew before all of this even happened. The other team that might be interested, Ziggy Schmidt and the Seattle Sounders. Schmidt and Robbie Rogers won an MLS Cup back in 2008 with the Columbus Crew, and Schmidt on Tuesday said, yeah, we'd take Robbie Rogers up in Seattle. So a number of teams interested in Robbie Rogers. You can find all the details in the kickoff today on MLSsoccer.com. Next up, the Amway Canadian Championship resumes on Wednesday, and maybe the biggest game here, Montreal at home against Toronto, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Sportsnet up in Canada. Toronto holds a 2-0 aggregate goal lead after the first leg last week at BMO Field. Now, the Impact fans, we saw this last weekend, sort of revolting against their team in that win over the Chicago Fire because the Impact did not play their starters. Can the Impact win their fans back with a win in this one?
Well, I think it's going to be, they're going to have a chance to, because Toronto FC right now are pretty ravaged with injuries. I mean, you're talking about a lot of key guys for that team are out and are probably not going to be available for this one. So we talk a lot about that young Canadian core of young guys that Toronto has. Those guys are going to get their chance in a really high pressure environment. I think Montreal are going to take it to them. It's going to be fun to watch either way.
Second leg of the semis between Montreal and Toronto, and then in the nightcap, it's Vancouver at home against Edmonton. Vancouver hold the lead in this one. You'd have to assume that they should be able to wrap it up out in British Columbia. That game's at 10 p.m. Eastern on Sportsnet. And another big tournament game on Wednesday night. Don't forget, the CONCACAF Champions League final, the second game of that series between Monterrey and Santos Laguna. Herculez Gomez, the U.S. international, looking for a ticket to the Club World Cup, 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Soccer. Last but not least, some of these series you're going to find on MLSsoccer.com on Wednesday. Anatomy of a Goal, that comes out, as well as March to the Match, the podcast from the West Coast. And don't forget to tweet your questions about fantasy to @MLSFantasy for the starting lineup segment, which comes out on Wednesday because there's a game on Thursday. I'm going to try and step in for Andrew Reeby, but I'll be joined by our fantasy expert, Jason Sagini. So get your questions in because there's a game on Thursday night, Portland and New England out on the West Coast. So get your fantasy lineup set. Make sure you log on to MLSsoccer.com for all the details. Does it for us. We'll see you with another edition of The Daily tomorrow.